So I'm here in my garage in Carlsbad, California, and well, this is actually going to be one of the last times I'm here. Hi, I'm Spencer. This is my Bambina. Welcome to the show. Yeah, it's a different garage than I used to be at. It's a different one than you've seen, but however, the scene is quite similar to how you saw it before. There is a car. There is a motorcycle. Things are in pieces. A car is up in the air with wheels off the ground. And it's due to tire issues again. I mean, these BBS wheels, no matter what, I don't seem to be able to win. They always start leaking air in some way, shape, or form. And they did that a few months ago, and I decided I was going to take the car off the road to fix everything and go through and fix all the bushings. And I actually have a built sort of like a master plan of things that I wanted to work on while I had it off of the road, which meant that it was going to be off the road for a considerable amount of time. However, my life plans have changed, and I cannot seem to get a solid amount of time to work on the car, which is very hard. I think that, at some point I will be able to spend a significant amount of time on it, and I'm going to share all my plans with you in an upcoming video that's going to talk about the entire project, what I want to do with the car, what is kind of like the end goal with the car. And so that's going to be a whole video on its own. We're going to talk about the motorcycle. This is my Ducati 907 IE. It's kind of like the last version of the Ducati Passos. And we'll have a whole video, and in fact, probably a whole series of videos on restoring that bike and riding it and all sorts of stuff. But I think very first is to ask, hey, why would I be leaving such a beautiful place? You can see all this, it's a pretty little neighborhood, and actually the ocean is about that way, just exactly 1 mile. And that is because I am picking up and I am leaving this sleepy little beach town, and I am moving all the way to downtown San Diego. We'll talk about reasons why in a whole other video too, but yeah, you guys didn't really get to see a whole year of my life because I decided not to film. It was a conscious effort, but I'm happy to be back. So for now, the immediate projects ahead of me are: one, get the motorcycle in a state where it's working, which means I have to take that gas tank, sort of reseal it, and put all of the gas tank itself back on. There is a piece that goes on the back right over there covering the tail light. And essentially with those two pieces, I can hook the seat in and make it so it's at least drivable. It won't be pretty. It won't have all the gorgeous body work that makes it super 80s fly on it, but it will allow it to ride and drive from a legal standpoint and safe standpoint. So I can move it to my new garage, which I will also include in a new video. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do. So for right now, I'm going to work on getting this sort of whole thing plugged back together. I'm going to take the wheel off of the car, which is already in the air, explain what I need to do to fix it, which really almost already happened in a previous video, 2 videos, my first 2 videos, and projects, stuff and things, and so much stuff. Welcome back to my Bambina. This is a 1993 Ducati. It's a 907 IE. The IE is the Italian version for electronic injection. And this was the first motorcycle that was not carbed by Ducati, so it was kind of like a big deal. It was also the very last bike before they'd really kind of come in big into the United States. There were probably only maybe a couple hundred of them sold in the United States, to maybe a couple thousand. I don't really know the numbers, but I can tell you it's pretty low. And if you look at the frame actually comes from a Yamaha, which is like super weird, but it was really kind of a transitional time of the company into becoming its own company. a lot of it sort of comes from a company called Cagiva that existed in Europe and Italy, that had represented Ducati, which you could recognize their logo on this motorcycle as that elephant. That's nice and cute and right there. Has a really cool dashboard. As you can see, this one has 18,000 miles, which for an older motorcycle, it's actually quite a bit. But I am planning on using this thing for commuting and having some fun, and getting on it and riding up in the mountains around San Diego, and perhaps some longer adventures if I possibly can. So this is the plan right now. Is I need to put the cap back on top of this. I need to take, there's a seal that goes around here, and then a metal cap. Here it is right here on top of my trusty thing. So there's this rubber seal which goes around, and then this is the cap that goes on top of it. And that will allow the tank to be sealed. Then I need to actually screw the tank back down and hook up all the fittings for it so it can start. And this was actually something just the other weekend before I decided to move out that I had taken off and put a lot of time into emptying the damn thing, and I didn't think that I'd be moving so soon. So it's sort of like redoing stuff that I'm just going to have to undo again once I get to the new garage. But hey, we're going to go on an adventure. Okay, the tank piece now is on, but I am missing one screw. And I need to find that. So it's either down here along the ground or something like that, or it's just gone forever and I need to find a quick replacement. Next step is take this tank. It has couple points of fastening, 1, 2, and I've got to find the others. I think it was either one of these side fasteners, something along those lines, that actually ties into the frame. There's a lot of bolts and bodywork on this motorcycle, but hey, one thing to the next. This is small garage problems. We're making it work. All right, I have the that piece is on. I know I have one bolt here for tying this into the frame. So what I'm going to try and do now is sort of reconstruct how I put this apart. I know I need another one of these. It's somewhere around here. This one shouldn't be one that is too hard to find because it's, pretty big and it has that nice big washer on it. So that should show itself. I have, as far as connecting points, there's 1, 2, which are 1 and 2. I have these 2 overflow tubes that go here and here, and then I have the gas feed and the return, which go here and here. So, and then there's one electronic connection right here, goes into the fuel pump, which is inside the tank, which I guess I'd get to through here if I ever needed to fix that. I hope I never need to. Not that these things are super accurate anyway with like the floats and stuff for reading the gas levels, and that goes on to here. So I think I have all the connections that I need. As far as hooking it up to the frame, I think it's really only these 2. And then when I'm done there is a piece that goes on the back over here that the seat hooks into and ties into, so I can then securely fasten it. I'm not riding around on something really wobbly. So just a little bit more work to do. I gotta hook up the lines and the connections, and then I'm gonna fasten the tank down. All right, I've got everything down, but I'm still missing this screw. Got the pieces hooked up under the hoses hooked up underneath. I have my 2 overflows. There is a feed and a return for the gas line, and I am still missing this little screw. I'm still missing the bolt that goes through here with the washer. I'm assuming the bolt with the washer is going to be a whole lot easier to find in this mess of a garage, which really needs a thorough going through and cleaning before I get to the new garage, because I actually have a whole lot more space than this. You know, this is starting to get late here, but I'll give you a little garage tour. One, we got the long boards up here doing a little surfing in the North County. Yeah, there was this hose in here before, and you know, I just never took it out. That was probably not the best thing to do. And coming down here, the whole car is off the ground up on jack stands. Here's all the body parts. The very specific one that I need today is this, because this is a piece on the back, and this will give me a moment to explain a little bit more about what I'm doing on the bike. This piece used to have a Ducati on it. You can see it's yellow, primer gray, and red. The reasons why it's red after sanding is because that's the color that the bike originally was. This piece goes on here above this light. Pin goes through. That pin in the middle goes through, and that's what the rear seat mounts to and locks in onto when it's in place, so it doesn't wobble around. It's kind of hooked in between the front seat down here and in this piece. So I always hated the yellow that this was in. I've had this bike since probably 2015. My real goal for it is to bring it back to a red, and I want it in all its sort of like 80s, early 90s glory. We're going to powder coat the wheels in sort of like a vintage gold, and it's going to match the car, essentially, is the whole sort of plan for it. So that's the restoration project in a nutshell. But for now, I really need to find the bolt that goes here and a screw that goes there, because this has a hole into the gas tank. That wouldn't be good. And this just, well, I mean, you know, you got to hold the gas tank on. So everything's on. Now it's time to get this piece on, and then find those bolts, and yeah. All right, final video of the day, and kind of a job well done. This piece is screwed on. I don't have the keys here to set this down right, but there's actually a lock that goes in here, and that lock activates that pin, which this hole then it gets stuck into, or receptacle, whatever you want to call it. And then that hooks onto the front up there, and I even found the last screw. However, I did not find one screw. Probably one of the more important and lesser important ones. I don't know how to classify it, but that one down here to hold the tank on is still gone. Now we have one tank, one's still holding it on, and I can find some type of a replacement to work on that. And I can actually ride it, and I think it's more important than this one, because, or less important than this one, because this one actually has gasoline that could flow out if I get everything wrong. This one just holds it on. It's kind of like a backup to that one, and well, it holds it down just evenly, but I think I can get by without it for the 20 to 30 minute ride that I have to get this to my new garage, which I just signed a lease on. So yeah, it's going to be a whole sort of different way of operating with the new garage, which is definitely a lot bigger than well, it's somewhat bigger than the tight space that I have here. It does have some overhead shelves, so I can store some things, but I just really want, I think it's a bit deeper, and I really want to be able to set it up so I can work on stuff. So yeah, whole lot of stuff coming up. All right, I'm already messed up. You can see the sun's starting to set a little bit. It's turning into evening, and I'm gonna call that a wrap for the day. So I'm just gonna stop it by saying thank you everybody for taking a minute to watch this. If you have, trying to grow this channel, and I'll talk more about the purposes and kind of like how I'm gonna involve everybody and what I want to share, and all that type of stuff's going to be coming up soon. So for now, if you took the time to watch this, I just want to say thank you very, very much. If you want to subscribe and see what's coming next, I promise you it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be fun. It's going to be informative. It's going to be very real. It's not going to be clickbaity. It's just going to be what is some old dude who's going gray got going on in his life in the world. And yeah, so cool. Thanks everybody for watching. Love you all. My Bambina. Peace out.